This morning I have with me Robin Simpson, who is the internal lighting design engineer for M-Elec, and welcome Robin. Thank you for coming.
Yep.
Today, as we're going to go through the NOX version 3, which is just being released as we speak. So our aim for this session is to give you an insight into the design and functionality of the NOX version 3 floodlight. So what is a NOX version 3 floodlight?
Okay, glad you asked, Wayne. So in our range we've had the NOXes for about 4 years now. We started off with the NOX 1, and as LED chip technology gets better and output gets better, then obviously we look to upgrade our range. So the version 3 has just been released, has much higher lumen output, especially in the higher wattages. Plus we've got a few new wattages we've introduced into the range, and we've dropped a wattage out of the range. A few new accessories and things we'll go through as well, but basically yes, it's a premium range of floodlights.
Oh, that's excellent. Now we also have new lenses and all that as well to make it a little bit easier for people to do.
Absolutely.
So, which we'll go through shortly. What do we have in the range? What wattages do we have in the range?
Okay, so the old range we did everything from 15 watt to 400 watt. So we've dropped the 400 watt out, and we've introduced a 460 watt and a 600 watt, and we've also introduced an 80 watt into the range. Now the reason we dropped the 400 watt out of the range is because the lumen outputs now of the 300 watt was almost the same as the old 400 watt, so it just didn't make sense to keep the 400 when we could do the same job with the 300, so we dropped that out of the range.
And these lights are also available in white and warm white?
Correct.
Yep. Okay, so it's great to have a fantastic range of floodlights, but as an electrician, from time to time I need accessories, I need brackets, I need things like that. So have we created a range of brackets for these?
Well, we have. The first thing to note too, with the new range, we still have maintained the fast fit bracket.
Oh,
so
great.
That was introduced on the NOX version 1, which allowed you to mount the floodlight up without taking the bracket off. So a lot of the ones at the time had brackets. You had to mount them and you dropped screws, and it was a bit of a nightmare. So we were probably the first or one of the first to introduce the fast fit bracket, so we've kept that in the range.
Which I can say, as an electrical contractor myself, makes installation so much easier.
Yep. And then we've also upgraded our range of brackets, especially on the 300 watt.
Yes.
So in the old range we had a slide-on bracket, then we had to use a little right-angle adapter, all that sort of stuff. So this is a one fit unit,
yes,
idea.
Yes.
So it's a 60mm OD down to about 40mm, but if you put in longer screws you can take that down to the 32mm, and it's also adjustable 90 degrees as well, so you can slide on the pole that way or on the pole that way. So, and as you can see, it's a very nice unit now.
Looks very rigid,
it's
very
a very
solid.
smart little unit.
Yeah. So I mean, now we know those are available from the 8 through to the 30. We've got PE cells. We've got microwave sensor with a remote as well.
So with the microwave, so the PE cell, you'll notice on the new range from 8 to 300 watt, we have the little screw out part in the middle of the fitting. So the sensor actually screws into there. So you have to take the back plate off where the wires are. It goes right through, then the sensor gets wired in, plate goes back on. It does come with its little gasket there, so it maintains its IP rating.
So it does, yes.
So yeah, so you can modify any of the ones from 8 to 300 watt, only in the new range. The old range does not have that little part in there.
Okay, so there's something we must note too, is the PE cell and the microwave sensor with the remote are only good for the new version 3 range.
Only good for the new ones. The microwave sensor, you could probably use in the old range if you mounted it separately to the bracket or something like that.
But it would only be usable on the 0 to 10
so
units?
the 100 to the 300
okay.
in the old range.
Which is the NOX 10 to NOX 30 V2s.
Okay.
So we've cut the cable, so there's no more plug top on the cable, I noticed.
Correct. So when we did training around the country, the feedback we got from most electricians, well 90% of the electricians, was that they cut the plug top off and throw it in the bin, then they have to strip the cables to wire them into a junction box. So we've done that for you. The plug top's off, we've pre-stripped them, soldered them, and then we've also come up with a new junction box arrangement called the NOX Box 130. So this is an IP65 rated box now. has a dual entry at the bottom, snap out tabs, so you can put in a corrugated conduit or a fixed conduit, or if you're just using the cable, you can drill a hole and put a little gasket into there. You've got lockdown tabs for the cable, and then Wago clips for the termination. So it's got the extra gasketing on it now to get the IP rating, and it comes like that in the box, and then once you've wired it, you snap it shut, and you're fully IP rated. So it's a very nice little unit, and the first of probably 2 or 3 models on out of that range.
Wow, that's fantastic. The other thing to note too is, and I noticed for the NOX 10 or the NOX 8 up to the NOX 60 now, we have various lenses.
Correct.
Why would that be the case?
Okay, so it's important when you're talking to us in relation to floodlighting, what you're trying to illuminate, what sort of job you're trying to do. So everything's different. So it might be a sports field, it might be an industrial shed, it could be anything, a car yard. So we've got a range of lenses which allows us to, in the lighting design, use the better lens to get better coverage from the luminaire. So basically the standard fitting comes with a 120 by 90 degree beam, and then we have 3 other optional lenses. One's a bit narrower again for like a street light optic, and then we have the other 2 which is more of a wider optic. So just helps us mix and match to get the best result for the job.
So you could say you could actually use a lens to actually stop spill lighting going into a property or something like that, or would you still need the
It's
guards?
more about spreading the light, not so much the spill. If you want to spill, you'd either put a guard on it, or you mount the fitting pretty much horizontally like that, so it's not, so it's cutting off closer to the beam.
Excellent. All right. So what we're going to do now is we've done this in several parts. So the next part we're going to look at is the specifications around the NOX 3.
Sure.
NOX version 3. So when we look at specifications, I'm looking after all the technical side of things for M-Elec. I get a lot of questions around, why are the specifications important, and why do I need to know? Why am I referring or being sent to refer to a specification? So can you give us a bit of an insight as to why they're important?
Well, as you'd appreciate, there's a lot of manufacturers on the market with floodlights, and they're not all apples for apples out there. They might all be 150 watt, but in terms of the output, the lumen output is probably not going to be the same. So it's important to look at lumen output of the fitting, and it's also important to look at the life of the fitting and the warranty. So with the NOXes, we have a 7-year manufacturer's warranty, and if you're an M-World member, which is free to join, and you can register the job online with us, which has a $9.95 fee per job, not per luminaire. And then for the first 3 years of your warranty, you're covered for parts and labour. So basically, if something does go wrong, we're paying you to go back and fix it. So not everybody has that in place to back their luminaires, so we do that. Okay.
So Robin, it sounds like it's an absolutely awesome range. But like I said before, when we're talking about specifications and things like that, I get a lot of questions around lumen output, CRI, colour temp, efficacy, IP, and interestingly, IK ratings as well. Can you enlighten me why people would be looking at those all the time?
Okay, so with the colour rendering, or we'll start with the lumens first. So lumens is very important because a lot of manufacturers out there may offer a fitting that is only 90 lumens per watt. So it's important to look at apples for apples, because our 150 watt is 148 lumens per watt. So if you're looking at a 90 lumens per watt, then probably our 100 watt will do the job, or even our 80 watt will do the same job as that 150 watt. So it's very important to look at that. Warranty is the next thing to look at. So we have a 7-year manufacturer's warranty on the product. And also, if you're an M-World member, you can get the first 3 years of that parts and labour. It's free to join M-World, but it's $9.95 to register the job per job, not per luminaire. So that's just standing behind the product that we sell.
Yes.
So very important to look at those couple of things to start with in terms of that. IK rating is the impact rating of the lens. So out of 10. So 1 to 10, so 10 being the best. So the old range was IK8, the new range is IK10. So what that means is if something's hitting the unit, it's not shattering or breaking or things like that. So very important in sport in particular, where you might have kids running around. You don't want things falling down if kids running around getting hurt.
Yep.
Also, if you've got the little vandals out there, they've got the little
high
slingshots,
vandal area.
things like that. So
Yes.
yeah, it's very important for those sort of areas. So IK10 is the best you can get. So
It's the best.
absolutely.
Now they also asked me about the colour temperature. Why is, they come, all of our NOx fittings come in a white or a warm white, which is 5,700 or 3,000 K. Why is that important?
So it's important when it comes to the actual job, right? So basically, when you're looking at floodlighting, you need to tell us what it is you're trying to light, so that we can determine the best result for the job. So, for instance, again, if we're doing a tennis court, I wouldn't be using a warm white on a tennis court because the colour is really shocking, and everyone wears numbers and colours and things like that, and you're not going to identify the people. So we're going to use a high CRI of 70 plus, which is our 5700K fitting. Nice white light, nice colour rendering. But if you were just doing security around the side of a building,
Yes.
I'd probably be looking at the warm white because I'm getting a better result.
Okay.
Especially when you're using cameras. So black and white cameras, warm white's really good. Colour
Yes.
cameras, white light's really good. So
Greenfield,
green trees, things like that. Warm
botanical
white.
gardens,
Yeah.
things like that.
We can mix and match to do the job. Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
okay.
As long as we get all the information for the job, we
Yes.
can do it.
So when we're, I also get asked about an IP rating.
Yep.
So all of these fittings are an IP65,
65.
even when the sensors are fitted,
Yes.
when the brackets are fitted, we maintain our IP rating all the way through.
Correct.
Which is, I believe that's very important.
It is very important, especially for outdoor floodlighting.
Outdoor floodlights?
Yeah, you don't want something that's only IP40 because it's going to get water inside it or dust inside it or both pretty quickly. So the good part about, you mentioned the PE cell or the sensor, we have a little screw out section in the middle. The PE cell comes with its own little gasket to seal it off. The back plate comes off, the wires go through, it screws in nice and tight, maintain the IP rating, gets wired off and screwed back on again, just to make sure the gasket's in place.
And I noticed they have a nice little O-ring at the back
That's
there
on the side there for the cable to come through.
So when we look at the NOx version 3 and the specifications, how do they stack up, when we compare to others? And, as you've said before, they're not always apples for apples.
No.
They might be the same wattage, but they could be, and they could look the same, but it's about, so how does our product stack
Our
up?
product is out there leading the way in terms of floodlighting for sure. Our lumen outputs are one of the highest, if not the highest on the market.
Yep.
And our warranties are the best on the market.
Yes.
So you've got all those things to look at. And I think the range of brackets now too, from the old range of brackets, which we have a NOx 3 here. So the NOx 3 and 5, the bracket remained the same, but it gives you an idea of what the brackets were. So when we were changing it over and we wanted to mount it on a pole,
Can I help you with that?
that's all right. We wanted to mount it on a pole, we had the two parts to mount it on the pole like that. So it's quite a lot of bits and pieces to go with it. That's still the same for the NOx 3 and 5.
Yes.
But in the NOx 8 and above, we have the new adjustable bracket. So it bolts onto the fitting, it can spigot mount that way or spigot mount that way because it is adjustable 90 degrees. 60mm diameter, down to around 40mm, but if you wanted to go down to 32mm, simply longer screws, which I believe will have the longer screws available for it. So it looks at a much neater fitting than
And
the old.
the interesting part I noticed from an electrician's point of view is the cable route. The cable actually runs through.
Runs through and out the back.
And then either out the back, down the pole.
Down the pole,
Which means if we've got birds and things like that, the actual cable is well protected.
Correct.
Which is an issue when we look at the larger, the NOx 600.
Yeah, so on the new models, we've got the NOx 40, we've got the NOx 46, which is a 460, and the NOx 600. So this is the 600. So it's two of the NOx 300s put together on a bracket, and it's all pre-wired. So if we turn that around, you'll see it's pre-wired on the back there. We've got the anaconda cable going over the cable there, and we also have a spare piece of anaconda comes in the box to cover that cable. So there is also on these, you've got an extra entry point on the side. So if you want to put a 20mm gland, you can come through the side of the unit and disregard the main entry point.
And you would just plug that off?
Correct, plug that off, and that's more important when you come to some of the heavy industrial sites.
Heavy industrial mine sites.
Obviously beam angle and dimmable. I believe the everything from the NOX 8
8
is 0 to 10 dimmable.
Correct. Yep.
Which is where our little dim S actually comes into it.
Yep.
Now, just to be clear with that dim S, it's not actually a dimmer that you would use in your house, unless you have 0 to 10 volt dimming.
Correct.
But everything from the 8 upwards is dimmable.
Correct, yeah, in that 0 to 10 format. And that'll just click into a HPM or a standard Clipsal plate.
Yes.
Not the satin serials or one of those fancy plates, but the old standard plates for sure.
And we can have pretty much an unlimited number on the 0 to 10, but it is limited by actual distance and voltage drop, I believe. Yes.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so as we move on, so thank you for all that specification. It's really important. And all of that is in with each device and on our website as well, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So another question I do get a lot, Robin, is how high can I mount it? And why can I only mount a NOX 1 at 2 meters? Why can't I put it up a 15 meter pole?
It is a good question, and you know what, there's nothing stopping you from putting a NOX 1 at 15 meters, except you won't see much.
It might look like a star.
So you might get this little glow on the top of a pole, yeah. So it's all relative to the wattage. I mean, we have a guide which we'll put in the presentation in terms of heights, but your NOX 1, you're only talking in that 2 to 3 meter range. It really is a small wattage flood, mainly for domestic use, I would class it as, around houses, things like that, which is only going to be 2.5 meters high anyway.
Yes, yeah.
It replaces along the lines of a 300 watt QI or a little 50 watt metal halide, things like that. So anything that you've got out there that you're looking to replace at that height is fine. But yeah, if I was doing a new installation, this is where we come into it. We're not going to sell you a NOX 1 and say, yeah, it's great at 30 meters, mate, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to ring me up the next day and say, I'll put it on, but I can't really see anything. So
it didn't make any difference.
No, it didn't make any difference. So yeah, it's important to get the right wattage for the right height to do the job. Yeah.
So as an example of that, if we were looking at a NOX 30, we could go 10 to 15 meters.
Yep.
The big NOX 46, which you were showing there, just the NOX 60,
yep.
That would be as per design, because it's such a powerful light,
yep.
and because of the various lenses, it's pretty much an as per design.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking a fitting now where we're looking at sports fields and things that it's pretty particular to get the right lux levels, uniformities, things like that, and that's where we come in to do the lighting design for it. So.
Lighting height for the NOX 60, which is a 600 watt unit, is as per design.
Correct.
The reason for that is
it's because it's such a big fitting. We're going to be using it on sports and big industrial installations, and really that's a design feature anyway. We have to do the lighting design for that. So we optimise the best pole height, we optimise the best lens to use to get the best result, to get the Australian standard levels that are required. So.
Yeah, so it's not something you'd throw in your on your garage as you're driving in.
No. Well, you could do it, but you'd light up the neighbours 3 blocks down. So
I mean, another thing that I do get asked is the fact that can the NOX version 3 replace older style fittings? So your metal halides, your QIs, things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, with the LED technology and the high lumens per watt, we're talking a 150 watt LED to replace a 400 watt metal halide.
Wow.
And in fact, it's probably going to be better than the old 400 watt metal halide anyway. Now, 400 watt metal halide is 440 watts of consumption.
Yes.
This is 150 watts of consumption. So you're nearly 2/3 less power to do a better job than you're already getting.
So there's cost savings there, and not only that, but these are good for 50,000 hours, correct me?
Yep.
So I'm actually saving on maintenance cost as well.
Correct, absolutely.
If I have the M-World and something does go wrong, should never go wrong, I'm also covered for 3 years, so I'm still saving, I'm still ahead.
Absolutely, it's a win-win.
All right, so even for the likes of the high pressure sodiums and things like that, and this is a little bit out of the NOX, but does this also apply to the likes of our high bays and things like that? Can they replace them?
Yeah, you can. Obviously, high pressure sodium is a yellow light, it's also a golden coloured light. It's also, its temperature is quite low, it's about 2700 K.
Right.
So we don't at this point in time have a 2700 K high bay, so we'd have to use our 5700 K high bay or 5000 K high bay. So it depends on the application.
Yeah, again.
You know, if someone's painting products, then you're going to use white light anyway.
Yes.
But if it was just, I don't know, steel storage, then it's probably sodium anyway. However, there's nothing stopping us from surface mounting a NOX floodlight to do the same job.
Ah, okay.
So, and the NOXes, as you know, are in 3000K.
So this is where the versatility comes in for the NOX.
Correct.
And the number of fittings in the range actually means I can solve most solutions.
Correct.
As long as I've got a wall to mount it on, or I can mount it up in the ceiling if I need to.
Because we do have another small mounting bracket accessory, which we don't have here, but it's a little trunnion bracket, which allows you to just surface mount straight up. Fitting straight up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is the NOX version 3 constructed? I mean, I get a lot of calls for people wanting to put these in all sorts of situations.
Yep.
Is it metal? Is it
so it's an aluminium heatsink, absolutely. So the actual term for the powder coating is an Axo Nobel. I hope I said that correctly. So yeah, it's treated and powder coated basically, but it's a cast aluminium heatsink. We have stainless steel screws that come on the fitting. This particular bracket is zinc aluminum screws, but you know, there's nothing stopping you going down to local bolt place and putting some stainless steel.
If you've got in a high corrosion area,
Correct.
the environment's a bit rough, you could put stainless steel bolts in there if you needed to, but
Absolutely.
the fitting has got stainless steel bolts in
And
it.
it's a polycarbonate lens. So all the lenses are polycarbonate, and as you know, they're IK10, so you've got the
and they'd all be UV stabilised and things
Absolutely.
like that.
Yep.
So what the people who watch this video will be able to see is the range up on the screen now.
Yep.
Everything from the NOX version 3 to the 15 are your regular ones, your
Correct.
regular products.
Correct. From a 1 to 3 covers pretty much all the applications around small industrial, like commercial, domestic, things like that. And then as you start getting into the higher wattages and like the 200, the 300, the 460 and the 600, that's more heavier industrial applications or perhaps sporting applications, things like that. And we generally are looking at lighting design when we're doing that high wattage.
So the one thing I have noticed is these lenses.
Yep.
Even though we go up to the 600 or the 46, or they're all the same size.
They're all the same
So they're just using banks of lenses.
Correct. It's just a bank of lenses. So like on this particular one here, this is the 100 watt, so this is a single lens unit.
Yes.
The 200 watt is a 2 lens unit. The 300 watt is a 3 lens unit. So, but they're all exactly the same size lens. So you're just going to have multiples of lenses. So yeah, we can change the lenses out. We can probably even mix and match lenses. However, in the lighting design, that would be hard to show the result. But we could mix and match the lenses if required.
So when we look at the product, we've actually got everything sewn up in the basic light fitting, and then when you support our product with the fantastic range of accessories that we've got, we've pretty much covered every avenue that people would need for specific floodlighting in the term floodlighting.
It's an extremely versatile range, from the trunnion mount to the spigot mount brackets to the surface mount bracket to the sensors, the remote control motion sensor, all the different wattages, the 2 different color temperatures, the NOX box for mounting the cables. Like, you pretty much, it's a very wide range.
Yeah. So in conclusion, just wrapping up a little bit there, Robin. There's a number of different floodlights available on the market. The NOX has been a favourite for many, many years, and we just, as the infrastructure behind the NOX develops, we just keep developing the product,
Correct.
more and more, and and it's based on a couple of key factors. One is it's designed by electricians for electricians, which is really important to me. But it's reliability, its design, its price, the ease of installation, and the warranty, both product and on site. And just one thing to note there, Robin, is the product warranty is 7 years, but that can be supported by a parallel running 3-year on-site warranty.
Correct. Yeah, the first 3 years of that 7 years.
So that means if I need to go to site to replace it, not that they ever fail, but if I need to go to site and I've got to get a scissor lift, if I've registered the site, I can submit my claim. The claim goes in for approval. Once it's approved, but that only refers to my labour. The product has already been replaced by the wholesaler or the source of purchase. So, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think we've covered it all. I think if you haven't tried a NOX flood, you need to be trying one of these, because you'll be quite surprised at what you're getting for your money and what it actually does. So yeah, give it a go.
Robin, thank you very, very much for coming. It's been a
for
pleasure and an honour.
Yeah.
I've learned so much today, and thank you everybody for being there.